Whether you're a life coach, therapist, biohacker, invested in wellness, or in the healthcare profession, if you have an intention to work in psychedelic spaces, you're in the right place then. If you're called, get involved. But first, get informed. Let's talk the 4 N's: intake, intention, in-space integration, leading to deeper transformations. Psychedelic Coach Podcast, Todd Cole. Walk you through the process, it's all possible. Leave space for the follow-through. Most importantly, integration is not optional.
Welcome to the Psychedelic Coach Podcast. And before we go any further, I want you to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss another podcast. Come on, y'all. I need you to subscribe. Come on, subscribe. No, I don't need you to subscribe. You need to you need to subscribe for you and everybody else that needs to hear this, right? If we have more people subscribing to this podcast, the algorithms will favor us and they'll put this in front of more people. And we really want more people to have exposure to this kind of information. So please do that. Hit that subscribe button. And while you're there, you can also do a review, drop some amazing comments, and share it with a friend. So today I want to talk to y'all about uncertainty, about next steps. And as a coach, as a facilitator, as a trip setter, as a person who's supporting people before and after psychedelic experiences, what are next steps? Right? People are uncertain about next steps. What do I do? What do I do? And this is where the integration question comes into play. What do people do for integration? And integration has a lot to do with the whole process of the psychedelic experience. Remember, the psychedelic experience is not the star of the show. The person having the experience is the star of the show. And the psychedelic experience is part of an integration process, right? And so when you have your psychedelic experience, what do you do next? People will be like, well, you sit in a circle and you talk about your experiences and then you just go back to life. And some people will say, well, you can do yoga, or you could do some breath work, or you can journal. But I don't hear a lot about structure. And not that you have to have anything that's super rigid and regimented or structured, but structure definitely helps. And with the Condor approach, we teach a method of journaling that takes about 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening. And we have a downloadable guide. You can buy it now. You can now buy the guide on Amazon.com and have it shipped to your door. And it takes 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening to track. And what Cole says all the time is if you don't track something, it's going to be challenging for you to change it. What you don't track, you don't change. And I find that to be true with a lot. There are a lot of things happening with us as human beings on a day-to-day basis. And I've heard calculations of we have somewhere in the realm of 60,000 thoughts per day. And I don't know who measured that. I'd like to meet the person who came up with that number and did the actual measurements of how many thoughts are moving through the average human being's mind every day. And I know if it's me, it's probably 600 million thoughts moving through my head a day. And so it's, when pertinent things come up, I need to write them down. And so journaling is a very, very important next step for developing a clear plan for myself with everything in my life, not just after psychedelic experience. However, after psychedelic experiences, whenever I don't journey that often, but when I do, it's with great intention. And there are things that I want to explore and I want to see if things are shifting and changing. And so I actually track myself on a day-to-day basis. How am I feeling in my body? What's coming up for me? Am I feeling like I'm not in control? The main influencer in my life? Am I having any pains or sensations that are common? All of these things can be tracked in the 7-day or the 30-day integration guide that we have for the Condor approach. It's absolutely wonderful. And Cole she put her foot, knee, back, elbow into that guide, man. She really went in and did like 11 different iterations of it. And so this latest one is a powerhouse and it's so easy. So many people have been having amazing results with it. I highly recommend going and getting it. And it's in the show notes, or you could just go to freeguide.vip and download that. So that's a wonderful tool for tracking yourself. And tracking yourself as a next step is really, really important. for me. And all of the people that I work with, they have to track. If you're not going to track, then working with me is not an option, because I need data. I want to know what's going on with you. If it's like, oh, after my experience, I feel depressed and sad and I'm never happy. I'm like, okay, can you show me where you track that? Well, no. Okay, cool. Then let's go back and track for the next week. And then they'll come back and I'll be like, how you feeling? Well, I had pockets of when I was sad, but there were times when I was happy, and this is the thing that happens with a lot of people, where they have blanket emotions and they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm just depressed. I feel sad. I'm never happy. And they don't see the nuances. And so it's the nuances that people miss. And it's the nuances that when we track the nuances, we can actually hone in on those nuances when they were happening, what we were doing. Were we eating? Were we playing with the kids? Were we on Instagram or doing whatever? What were you doing when the joy came in? What were you doing when the ease came in? Okay, so let's hone in on that. Let's put that under the microscope, and then let's expand it. How do we get into that? How do we get the environment to support that and expand it? This is why tracking is so important. This is why journaling is so important when it comes to next steps. After your psychedelic experience, are you tracking? When we go into psychedelic experiences as human beings, from my experience anyway, I can speak from my experience and the experience of the people that I've worked with, we tend to have these experiences where we dismantle the way we were thinking before, and we come back with a new possibility, with a lot of new possibilities, a lot of new ideas. And so those new ideas can get brushed to the side when we get back to day-to-day life. And so writing them down, even if you write it down like in days that you're fresh after your experience, you can come back to it months later and still integrate that stuff. But if you push it, if you brush it under the rug, you push it into the closet, you push it into the forget it for now situation, it may be challenging for you to access that stuff. And so when you have it right in front of you on a day-to-day basis, you can actually expand upon it and make a plan of action that actually supports you moving into the space that you want to move into, family. That is awesome. That is something that a computer can't do for you. That is something that some device plugged into your arm tracking your heart rate variability can't do for you. That is what journaling can do for you. And if you want to type it into your phone, that's fine. My recommendation is to do it in your own handwriting. That's how we relate to things the most as human beings. And there are studies on this stuff. I'm not going to get into the semantics. There are a lot of things that I've read up on, and I've done it myself and with the people that I work with. So I invite you to handwrite your journaling. So that's one thing that you could use as a next step. Creating an action plan is tremendously important. And part of what we teach people in the Condor approach is what we call a states assessment. And that's when you run yourself through your state, right? And it's the state, it's an acronym, right? For situations, thoughts, actions. Where are you at on a triangle, right? The oppression trap triangle. And I'll talk about that in a second. And what are your emotions, right? Situations, thoughts about the situation, actions you take as a result of the thoughts about your situation. And where are you in a triangle? And the triangle is, are you playing the villain, the victor, or the victim? And are you stuck in either one of those positions in that triangle? And are you projecting those at other people? And how is that affecting your emotions? What emotion is that drumming up? Because every thought that triggers an action, right? Every thought, every situation that triggers a thought, that triggers an action pattern, that triggers you to be in the triangle, is going to stir up your emotions. And even if you're not in a triangle, your emotions can get stirred up. And so in those spaces, we can actually see where we are. And doing a state assessment, that tells me where I am. So if I'm like, oh, I'm stuck feeling sad all the time. Okay, well, what's the situation? The situation is, I'm by myself and someone left and I'm by myself. Okay, so I'm by myself. And what do you think when you're by yourself? I think I don't deserve, I'm making shit up right now, y'all. I think I don't deserve to be with anybody because I'm alone. Okay, so the thoughts are you don't deserve to be with anybody. Yeah, so what do you do as a result of that? Well, I stay by myself. Okay, so the actions are you stay by yourself, which fortifies you being stuck in the alone space. And so where are you in a triangle? Well, I feel like I can't get out of it and nobody loves me. Where are you in a triangle? I'm playing the victim. Okay, and so then this is where we see how people get stuck. And then as a result of that, they feel sad, or I feel depressed, I feel lonely, whatever the situation is. I'm making shit up right now, like I said. And we can see where a person is based on that. And you can do an assessment. That's a states assessment. And so in the way we work here at the Psychedelic Coach Podcast and the way we work at the Condor approach is we don't believe that there are any limited human beings. Matter of fact, it's not a belief, it's knowledge. There are no limited human beings. There are only limited states of being and limiting strategies to get you in those states. And so when you rock in that space of limiting strategies, you're going to get a limited state. Your state's going to be limited. So you're only going to see one thing. You're only going to be able to participate in one space. And that's when we get trapped. And so being able to see that, you can actually orchestrate and create a strategy for moving forward. And creating a strategy is a really wonderful, brilliant place to go. And there are lots of strategies you can do. You can make a vision board and be like, okay, well, I see that I'm stuck in this space and I want to get to that space. So you create a vision board. And vision boards are really wonderful things. And people discount these. I know a lot of people that have done some really wonderful things by creating a vision board and just looking at it every day and seeing where they want to be. Matter of fact, I think it's time for me to get my vision board cranking right now too. So, I got to integrate that myself. Setting achievements, setting milestones is another very, very practical space. This is where I was before my ceremony. This is where I am now, and this is where I want to be. And so you create the vision board, and you create the vision board, you create an action plan, and then you bring people in with you on that. And you can create something that we call a life team. And a life team is a group of people that you handpick to support you in your process. You handpick them. People that are going to serve your situation. They can be your friends. They could be your homies. Friends and homies are kind of the same situation, right? They could be your friends. They could be your homies. They could be your family members. They could be your kids. They are family members. Man, I'm on a roll today. I'm on a roll. I'm going to roll with mayo and lettuce and tomatoes. I kill me and bring myself back to life. They could be hired professionals. Your life team can be anything, anybody that's willing and ready to support you in your space. And I'm not mad at people paying for people to be in their life team. Compensate somebody. If they'll show up for you, then rock with that. These are actionable next steps to do after your psychedelic experience to fortify yourself in your newness. These are actionable steps. Also, next steps, make sure that your nutrition is fortified. Make sure you're getting some quality fats into your body to replenish, right? So to replenish all of the hormones and things that have been utilized during your psychedelic experience. Make sure that your electrolytes are situated. Make sure you speak to your water. If you haven't studied or read up on Dr. Emoto's work, IMOTO, and the changes in the shape of water, speak to your water. Tell your water that you love it. Put it into some copper so that it can actually change the format of your water so that your body can accept it more. These are things that you can do after. These are actionable next steps. I don't want to get too scattered. I want to get back to the creating strategies, creating some milestones or some goals that you want to achieve based on what you've brought back from your experience. Writing these things down, developing a clear plan of action is tremendously beneficial after a psychedelic experience. And if you don't have a facilitator who's into that space, I invite you to find an integration coach or a friend. Get a friend and be like, hey, listen, I need some support with this. And this is where you got to be vulnerable. You got to ask for what you want, ask for what you need. This is part of it, y'all. You got to be courageous with this. And if you're scared that people are going to judge you based on this, then based on you utilizing psychedelics to expand, then you can reach out to people in the community. Reach out to people and lean into it. There are people out doing psychedelic experiences and having psychedelic experiences all over the world in very safe environments, but you got to learn to lean into the safety space. Safety is tremendously important. Having a clear action plan, creating that vision board, getting into a routine, making sure that you move your body is tremendously important. Next steps after a psychedelic experience is to get outside and take your shoes off and put your feet on the ground. And I've had people tell me, oh, I live in New York City. I'm not taking my shoes off and walking in the street. Take your shoes off, go walk in the street, then go inside your house or your apartment. If you live in one of those, a house or apartment, and there's this room inside, and it has a tub or a shower inside. It's called the bathroom. And wash your feet, family. Go wash your feet. Put your feet on the ground. It's so important. Our feet have been deprived of connection with the ground and with the earth. And it's a big thing to integrate and interface with the planet. And you won't understand it until you actually do it. And I'm not telling you to go play soccer or football or whatever, basketball with no shoes on. Just go walk on the sidewalk. Go put your feet in some grass. Just do it. And I'm telling you, and then track yourself. Day-to-day basis. Every day, just go track yourself. So these are some practical applications that you can do. Create a plan. Follow the plan. Journal and track yourself. I don't want to overload you with stuff. Journal and track yourself. Make sure you hydrate. Talk to your water. Get some electrolytes in your water. Make sure you eat some quality fats and proteins after your experience. If you're vegan, get quality fats and proteins from your vegan food. If you're a carnivore, you can get proteins and fats from your animal products. Whatever you're doing, okay? And consider hiring a coach, an integration coach, working with somebody who knows what they're doing in this space, who's been doing this, and lean into it. Some people also recommend microdosing after experiences to ride along the wave of what's been going on. I'm a fan of taking 4 weeks and waiting a moon cycle before you microdose. There are some people who will go right into microdosing so they can keep the channels open. There are different methods of doing it, and find somebody that to work with that resonates for you and with you, and lean into that. There's lots of reading that you can do. You can take the free course that we offer at condor.coach. And we have a free course. You can jump in on that and learn how to integrate yourself, learn how to navigate the oppression trap triangle, learn how to navigate your states assessment for yourself. We give away a lot of information and methods for coaching yourself for free. So there are plenty of resources. We've got plenty of podcasts to lean into. Get yourself informed. Get informed about psychedelics. Get informed about integration and start to integrate your process. Please, if you don't know what to do, if you need some support, reach out to us. We're at The Condor Approach on Instagram. We are very approachable. Okay. We've got a lot of coaches that we work with and that we certify. And it's absolutely wonderful. And if you're really interested in diving deeper into this stuff, we have trainings 3 times a year, y'all. And we formatted the Condor Approach where if you don't want to be a coach, you can come for the first 3 days and learn all the concepts around integration. We want integration to be accessible to everyone, not just coaches. So for the coaches, we want you there. We want you to do the year-long program. We want you to come and learn how to guide people in their integration processes. And we teach people how to make an amazing business out of integration coaching. It's absolutely wonderful. We're not about broke coaches, y'all. We're not about the struggling and hardship-ridden healer. We are about the healer having some space and grace to breathe and function and be in flow. And so we do teach people the skill of money and the integration of money. Financial bypassing is a real thing, particularly in psychedelic communities, because people are like, no, that's not for healing. No, money is for healing. Our deepest wounds on this planet are around finances and money. And if we're bypassing money in the psychedelic spaces, it's time for us to shift. And so that's another thing, about next steps is, what's your relationship with money? If you had a hard time paying for your journey, if you have a hard time hiring a coach, what is your relationship with money? That could be a next step for you to lean into. Once you've done the healing around your mom and your cousin and the things that happened to you when you were a kid at school and being bullied, once you lean past that, what's the next step? What's the next step for you? What's your intention next? Get your money stuff together. And this is not just about coaches. This is about everybody. Get your actionable steps together with your bread, y'all. People stay on some broke shit. Listen, and I get it. I understand. But, we've been programmed that money is bad a lot. And we've been taught that we should just have just enough. And that a lot of money is for those people over there. Having wealth and having ease is for those people over there. So we stay in dis-ease and we're unsafe. I mean, if you're listening right now and you feel unsafe about money, about paying your rent next month, listen, me and Cole we run a business. So our money is going up and down, up. And there are times where our money is just like, come on, fam. So I know it well. And this is why we teach the skill of money as we learn it. And the more we learn, the more we want to teach people, because there are people who don't know what we know now. And we didn't know now what we knew last year. And so we keep upgrading and we keep up leveling. And as we up level, we teach other people so we can all up level together. That's what this is about. For me, the next actionable step for me is to teach more people about this. And so as you have your psychedelic experiences, as you get into your expansion, another next step is to tell somebody. If you see somebody having a hard time, if you see somebody struggling, talk to them about it. Hey, have you considered expanding into this space? It's something that changed my life. And that's what the Condor approach is all about, y'all. It's all about us expanding together and not hiding anymore and making a movement out of this. Integrating your experiences is not optional. How you integrate is an option. And you can integrate really wonky. How many things have you integrated wonkily, if that's even a word? How many experiences have you had wonky integration with? You can choose to integrate how you choose. But you got to know that you can. And so with that, family, lean into it. My name is Todd, and I'm so grateful that you're here. And don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, share with a friend, and join us at the wait. Join us at the Condor Approach, June 13th to the 15th, and the Condor Coach Live, which is the 13th to the 17th. They overlap, and they're happening in the same place at the same time. Coaches will be there for the first 3 days and in the last 2. Everybody else will be there for the first 3 days, sharing in the concepts, learning the concepts, getting to learn yourself and how your nervous system works, getting to learn how to coach yourself and other people, getting to learn how to lean into how your logic works and what makes sense and what doesn't, getting to learn how your chakras work and how to do an intake on yourself, how to set an intention, how to be very intentional with your psychedelic experiences, how to land yourself in the space itself, and how to integrate afterwards. I love you. I'm so grateful that you're here. And don't forget, next steps, vision board. Let's go. Next steps. Tell a friend. Say no, then go. No, it's say yes, then go. And tell someone to flow. Let's get it, y'all. My name is Ty. I love you. This is the Psychedelic Coach Podcast. I'll see you next time. And remember,
integration is not optional.